So we're back with 39-year-old Lina, who has been in a live-in relationship with 45-year-old Michael for really 9 years, because the two moved in together about 6 months after meeting online. And I assume, Lina, that you have like a 7-year-old?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a child involved here, and that always makes things a little more difficult, but all the more important. Is it a daughter or son?
She's my daughter.
Okay. So what we want to do is actually have her father with her and also model for her what is really going to be helpful for her with men in her adult life. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, definitely. And she's very much attached to him. And, he loves her too. So, yeah, I think that's crucial for a little girl to see the relationship between the two parents and to have a father figure. I think it's very important.
I agree. A few things you stated that I think are really significant. And what I mean by that is for the listeners to understand. I hear the word a lot about ultimatum. I don't want to give a man an ultimatum. And what is an ultimatum? When we look at it, an ultimatum is a black and white, either this or that. And we as women are extremely reticent to put something in a black and white term and make a black and white either or situation with any man for a couple of reasons. The first is our brains and our femaleness, we don't work like that. In other words, we feel we don't want to make a man do anything. We want him to want to do something. It's really antithetical to us in all ways to say to a man, this is what it is, or it's not. Unfortunately, the male brain works in that fashion and works exceedingly well in that fashion. And if we reframe the feelings, the term, all of it, in terms of the word ultimatum, into standing in our value, knowing what is right for us, and what will be right for the man as well, we can get a little farther in our place in a man's life and having a relationship that not only fills us and our needs, but ultimately fills his as well. So I want to frame this in terms of, likely, you said, Lina, you read my book. So you know that I work under a foundational principle of someone that I came across, Bob Grant. He's a licensed therapist, who, when I read this, it was just the top was blown off of my head about how men bond in only one way, which is through making a formal commitment. And while living together can appear to be a formal commitment, it's actually not in the male brain. Otherwise, living together would work to a much greater degree than it does. And I put it under a context that I believe women can relate to, which is the puppy principle. For us to understand the difference between loving something, wanting to be with it all the time, loving on it, even taking a modicum of responsibility to and for it, but the difference between actually pulling the trigger and adopting a puppy. They're actually two fairly different things, because when you don't adopt, you feel you have an out. No matter what, if you haven't publicly stated to others and actually done what it takes to adopt a puppy, you feel like you have that out to maybe take it back to the shelter or give it away or whatever. But do you know what I'm alluding to? Do you get the concept, Lina?
Yes, Paula. I read your book, the first book that when I was feeling really bad, I got that book and I finally, I started to understand. Finally. It just took me 9 years but I understand how important it is now. And that's what I would want now. Yeah.
Yes. And it really is that black and white for men, because they can love us in the same way we generally, and whether it's kittens or babies or puppies or whatever it is for you, that we can love what we love. Because when we love, say, puppies, which I think is almost a universal, that we do love them all, and there's something about each and every one of them that we can love. So the biggest drooling mastiff to the smallest, teeniest, tiniest chihuahua, there is something endearing, wonderful, cute, inviting, alluring about each and every one of them. And if we get a chance to pet them, love on them, whatever, we will. But it takes a very certain state, mindfulness, and making a decision to actually adopt one. And then living up to the decision and the formal public stance that we did this. So, for example, when you think about it, if you've adopted a pet, it takes a lot to tell your friends, family, deal with it when you have to say, well, I made a mistake, I'm giving it back. I'm taking it to a shelter, or I'm giving it away, or whatever. Now, mind you, this is an analogy, and people are very different than pets, but it's the feeling. It doesn't make us feel good at all to renege on something that we committed to in that way. It just doesn't. And we want to take this to a like a height or a bigger, a greater feeling about it, in that men are extremely driven in our society by the perception of them being male. And foundationally, good men all feel that they live by their word. That's what makes a man a good man, because remember, men relate via their decisions. Women relate via their emotions. And what to a man makes him not a woman? Well, dealing by his decisions rather than his emotions. And what has happened here, Lina, is that because he has not formally committed, and we could say, well, my God, it's been 9 years and he has a child. What more commitment could that be? He did not make the decision. And this is what is allowing him to say, well, I can be with this other woman. I'm not married. Now, you may think, well, that's just doesn't really compute with us. But actually, if you really wrap your mind around it, all of these principles in the black and white mind of males, you will get why. Now we go a little bit further and a little bit deeper, which is what you're doing with him now will not work. In the short run, it won't at all. And here's the long run picture. Let's take a look at the future a little bit. So say it does work. And what's going to happen is through time, this woman that he is with, if he's at all honest with her in any way, shape, or form, she's going to want more. And she's not going to want his 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I would assume that would be natural progression of things.
Right. And then when that occurs, when the bloom is off the rose with this, in whatever way this could simply be a sexual thing. It could be more, we don't know. Because we really can't go on what he is saying because he wants to please both. And he doesn't want to be a bad guy to either because he sounds like he's a decent man.
Yeah.
So when this occurs, he's suddenly going to have kind of like a wake up. And it's going to be, oh my gosh, she's now pulling this stuff on me. And she said she wasn't going to want more. And she just wanted sex. And now this is happening and it's causing me problems. And I'm losing my daughter and my, financially it's going to hurt me. And on and on and on. And then he'll come back in a full way and say, she's out of my life. I cut it off. What would you do then? If he came home tomorrow and said that, what would you do?
Well, part of me wants to say, well, I'll have to think about it. I have to think about if I want you back after you hurt me so much. But I would also be happy that he has made a decision of to come back. Because the way that he tells me, the way that he wants us back to be normal as it used to be. But of course, I understand that it could never be the same as it used to be. This has been a huge change, at least for me, But he just wants to go back to the normal living as it used to be for a whole 9 years.
And Lina, here's what he knows from the 9 years he's been with you. That's exactly what will happen. He absolutely knows that. Now, doesn't mean he doesn't love you for it. He does. But he's not inspired by it. It's not going to make him do anything. It's actually going to make him do less. And what I mean by that, when you say yeah, what do you think I mean by that?
Well, I agree with you. I think that he knows me well enough that I'm patient and I wait for him, and I'm too nice. I think that my level of difficulties is very low because I always gave in. I forgive, I wait. I'm the good, girlfriend, you want to say, And I agree with you. There is no inspiration for him to. He just thinks that I'm just going to take it back as it was. I feel it. I just feel it.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And the beauty is that you know this intellectually. That's the good thing. You're already ahead of the game because you know it intellectually. That's great. The devil is in the details of the doing, because it's going to go against, really, in some ways, every fiber of your being. You are lovely. You are so, like you said, you're saying too nice, and you've probably heard me say so many times here and on YouTube, wherever, on my lives, Instagram. We lose otherwise great men and good relationships with 3 little words. One is a contraction. We're too nice. Men are not inspired by nice. All we have to do is think sports. Men want to play at their level, and they don't want the other player to be nice to them and let them off the hook for not playing well. They want to strive to play well and win the respect of the opposing team or the opposing player. Study, I don't know when it was done, but it to me rings so true. And they did it with, thousands and thousands of men and women. And they asked, what was the one thing above all you want from your opposite sex partner? Women, over and above all, one thing. And that one thing was to be desired. Men, over and above all, to be respected. Very different things. And it's kind of like thinking about a boy of 10, 12, or many times throughout life with his parents. What does he want? He wants to win the approval of the parents. Girls do too. But what I'm saying is that approval is ultimately respect. And so how a parent can parent without being heavy-handed is just show their disapproval of something rather than be heavy-handed and you must do this or you must do that. No, you make your own choice, but if you make the wrong choice, you're going to see how disappointed and disapproving I am. That goes so far. It goes much farther with boys than it does girls, I believe, because of that fundamental thing in the male brain to be respected for his decisions. You have not shown him the disapproval, you've shown him being hurt and disappointed, yes, but no disapproval. He has really gotten a great deal. He has his family, he has his cake, and he's eating it too. He gets to go off and get a reprieve from a committed relationship and have another sexual partner. And I assume that he's treating you pretty darn well right now.
Oh, yes. He's doing all the best. We just celebrated my birthday, and he was the number one to please, definitely. The one thing that he pointed out is that the reason why it's hard for him to end this other thing is that it's more than just sex. It's more than sexual. There are feelings involved. Okay, and I haven't been being intimate with him. I cut that completely out because I just don't feel comfortable. So, yeah, that's but in another sense, he is definitely trying to please in every sense. Taking care of me. Yeah.
One of the main reasons he's trying to please So there is no drama, chaos, decent feelings, no arguments, nothing. And here's what I'm hearing, and this goes back to, again, you're being too nice. Why would he at this juncture change anything until he may be good and ready? Why would he?
Yeah.
He's got a great situation right now. He doesn't much mind at all that he's not having sex with you. He's getting his needs filled elsewhere. That's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. You've given him no bar to jump over and achieve. It's not going to, you're just showing him more of the same. You said, I look back over the 9 years and I realized I did some things that really didn't serve me that well. And you're continuing it.
Yeah. Well, I'm also afraid of, because I was so hurt, that first initial shock, it was so hurtful. It was like I was hit by a train.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid of almost having this conversation. I know that we have to have a conversation at some point, okay? But I'm afraid of feeling that pain again. Is he going to tell me that it's not over? What is he going to tell me that's going to hurt me again? And it's just, so we just don't talk about it. We just go on like it's not happening almost. It's always there. It's always in the back of our both minds, and I could feel it because the tension between us. We could be together. We could do our thing, family time, or even, he took me on a date for my birthday. But it's there. The tension is there. But not both of us are not opening our mouth about the next step. And part of me really, I think if it wasn't for my daughter, I would just cut it off right away. I done it before my previous relationships. I just cut it off. I said, you know what, goodbye. But I feel like there's so much investment, into this 9 years. Obviously there's a child, there's work, there's this apartment, there's all of those things that would build up together. So I can't just cut it off that easily, So, but at the same time, nobody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm. So this is what I work with women in my program, lure him in. Because it is this fear that must be dealt with. And there are a number of ways to deal with it. My program is one way. Counseling, therapy, people call it all manner of things, inner work, some kind of religious revelation, what have you. I deal with this in a way that is behavioral, despite the fear. It's stepping into faith, and with the understanding that two things. One, I'm very, very honest with women, no matter what, in that if I don't feel it can go the distance, I state it up front. And I'm hearing with you, if you change the behavior and you step into faith rather than fear, you have a very, very good chance. I mean, a really good chance. But the way you're doing it, I can tell you, you do not. So women want, like a percentage or the odds, so to speak. And what I can tell you here is pretty much just what I said. that if you do what needs to be done week to week, knowing through the guidance of what has the best chance of working, because men are really formulaic. You've read books, you read my book, and you said, this changed things for me. I finally got it. And the reason you did is not that I had something so incredibly different. It's the way I gave it to you and give it in the book, that you finally got it to a degree that the truth of it came out of you. I didn't put the truth in you. The truth is already in you. It's just that I said it in a way that allowed it to come forward at a time in your life whereby you were ready to receive it.
Right.
This is not, it's not easy. If you do it on your own, I can tell you that every woman who attempts to do it on their own, there is nothing harder. Unless, you're not intrinsically, your essence is not yours. So in other words, if you were a real, like you think about the stereotypical ball-busting, bitchy woman, so to speak, and I hate that term, but people seem to get what that means. I mean, she's calling the shots. He should step up and do absolutely everything right, and there is no nonsense. That's not you. Intrinsically, that's going against the grain of who you are. He loves you for who you are. There is not one shadow of a doubt in my mind. And I bet you know it too. You know that he deeply loves you, correct?
Yeah, I do believe so. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. This isn't just about your child. In other words, if he didn't have the feelings he has for you, he would be out the door and just be with your child.
Right.
He's absolutely torn. And what's happening is you are not guiding him in the way he needs to be guided. That's my mechanics of men. You've heard me talk about that, correct?
Yes, and I actually, you said it so right, because he even told me that he's so lost. He's lost. And, it could be also, he's 100% it's work. His work was always been his number one, okay? But now that there's this pressure between this, me and him and this situation, that he said that his mind is just, he doesn't know how to go about this. So in terms of me guiding him, I'm not doing that, because I still feel so much anger towards him. I'm expecting him to step up, right?
Right.
But yet he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to.
And you aren't guiding him. You're not using the GPS system, the groom positioning system. That's my program that goes along with the lure concept and how we do it. Because it's so simple. We're not impugning men at all. We're not saying they don't have abilities. They have unbelievable abilities. And the mechanics of men is so simple when we do it the right way. And when we think about it, with real cars, if the man doesn't guide us and actually work on the car, it's not going to run. If left up to us to know what to do, know how to do it, know when to do what, thousands and then hundreds of thousands and then millions of cars would be left on the side of the road if men just said, oh, No, it's up to you women now. Forget it. We have no real interest. We don't want to know. We don't care to. Our knowledge, our power, our everything lies in the relationship realm. Now, don't write in, don't say, oh my gosh, Paula's an anti-feminist. No. If you're one of those women and you could be a car mechanic, all the more power to you. But I'm speaking in generalities. It doesn't work. And you are not being the mechanic of this relationship. And therefore, yes, he's lost. Absolutely lost and feeling very bad about this situation. He actually does. And he's getting a salve for the feeling bad with the other woman. Now, here's what I can tell you. That if you let this go through time and you do nothing, you, I think, in the end, could win out. And here's the problem with that. You will feel like the booby prize. You will feel like he just took the path of least resistance so that he could be around his daughter. You'll never be sure that you were chosen over the other. Because through time, it will just be like, okay, it will morph into, and slowly but surely, he will seep back into your life because it's convenient, because there's too much to deal with the property and the business and your child. And then how are you going to feel? You might have him, but what's that going to be like?
Right. Well, when I bring the marriage up, we had a couple of conversations during this period of this turmoil, and there was one time where my patience ran out, and I just exploded. All those things I was holding in, and I told them, you know what? I do want to get married. I'm sick and tired of being a girlfriend. And his usual thing, of course, he's so scared of she's so scared of the marriage conversation, And his number one line this is like a classic, that I don't need papers to tell me how I feel. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just, you're right. I don't want to be the second choice of easy. Oh, here, she's there waiting for me. She'll get, she'll take me any moment. You're right. It feels crummy.
Here's the problem. You aren't guiding him to the feelings. You're trying to verbalize with him. Women relate via verbalization. Men relate via action. None of what you said means anything. If we could relate to them via verbalization and it worked, you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in business, because women can verbalize very, very well what's going on, what they're feeling. They know even what the man is dealing with, all of it. It doesn't work. And if you continue to do that, you will just get more of the same, unfortunately. This takes a lot of mindfulness, a lot of work. The work is on ourselves, and here's what I mean by that. You say you're angry at him. I'm going to tell you the real truth. You're angry at you for not knowing. Years ago.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Because what we don't know, we don't know. And the anger at yourself is misplaced, but the anger at him is also misplaced. We teach people how to treat us in relationships, and you didn't know. You likely weren't modeled the right way to do it. Most all of us aren't. And it's very hard because, as I said, you are the loving, giving woman, and you believed what society tells us, which is when the man is ready, He'll step up and you'll get married and you'll live happily ever after. What a crock. Doesn't work like that. There are cases whereby it seems to have worked like that, but here's what's really happening. On the back end, the woman inspired the man to do it, and he knew he needed to or he would lose out.
Yeah.
Black and white. On or off, stop or go, yes or no, male and female. It's just how it works. And you're going to need to do a lot of work in a very systematic fashion. I give you the way to say it, how to start implementing it, what you do. And it's really, when you think about it, it's what, in a way, we could call like a parallel process. Because, see, you're upset at him not making a decision that you're also not making one.
Yeah. We're both waiting for something. And both of us are not, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Doesn't work. Because, again, I liken this to, you're in the middle of the Arizona desert. You're both in a car, and you've broken down. You have no water, and you have no cell service. You're on the side of the road, just the two of you. And a car may not be coming along for 2 days. And you're looking at him, he's looking at you. And if you couldn't have the faith in him to fix it, you're really up a creek. He's actually wanting you to fix it, and we don't want it to be the other woman to fix it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But why is it so hard for him to make up his mind? I told him, you want to go be with her?
Why is it so hard for you to do what you need to do to actually fix it? You identified it. Fear, loss, grief, pain, heartbreak. Same thing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be saying to you on that desert road, will you fix it, Lina? I don't know anything about cars. You fix it. Yeah. You have to look to him as the man, because generally speaking, he's going to be the one to get you out of there. You might have to help him a little bit. Here, hold this while I jack up the car. Help me jack up the car. Yeah, so I can get under it, figure out what's going on. But he's going to be the one. You have to be the one here. And you have to do it in a fashion that we know works. It works like a charm, if there's any hope. If not, you're going to go more time. And eventually, yes, you might be chosen. Maybe. And then you're going to feel just not very good about it. Because you won't know whether it's just, okay, it's kind of like he just fell into it because it was just too difficult to keep going with the other woman. But his heart's there or whatever. You don't want any question. You want no question that it's you. And that's what women in the Lord program find out. But you have to face the fear of finding out. And it's not like he's not going to be a father to your daughter regardless. He will be. And I totally believe if you did it the right way, he will step up and he will do this. And this is your, as I said from the beginning, this is your time and this is your shot. This is an opportunity knocking. I mean, huge. Do you believe everything happens for a reason?
Oh, yes, definitely.
That's why you went on that trip. This is why this woman came in. And you have to step into the faith faith and fear are exactly the same. You have to believe in something that you know, and you have to set about doing what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what I work with each week with Women in the Lord program, and they're usually astonished at how the man steps up, and it can happen so quickly because both of you are in indecision, and that is like him standing there in indecision on the side of the road and handing the fixing of the car over to you. That would be a little crazy, correct?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't know how to do it.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. So he wouldn't hand it over to you, but you, for some reason, are handing it over to him. Can't do it. It's just what it takes. It is not fun, but you can continue to live in this state, or you can decide, I'm going to attempt to fix it because this is my best shot. And the longer this goes on with the other woman, as I said, one of two things will happen. Either she will fix it, which we don't want, and I don't have a lot of faith in that. What I have more in is that he's just going to stay in indecision, stay in indecision, stay in indecision, and then she will leave and you'll be the, okay, because he's been left. Okay, I'm back. And is that what you want?
I don't want to be a second choice, and I'm also getting sick and tired of being in this limbo. That's what it feels like.
Good, I'm glad. Because you got to get sick and tired. You got to get sick and tired enough, and I would think that 3 months or however long you've been doing this is enough.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah. Nothing's changed in 3 months, and you're continuing to do the same thing. You even let him take you out on your birthday.
I'm too nice. I mean, this is the thing that I finally came. I'm 40. I turned 40 years old, and I realized, boy, am I so nice in my relationship. I mean, it's a good thing I can laugh about it, but it takes that long to realize.
And you know what? You have, and it takes however long it takes, because intrinsically you are that good, lovely person. But if you know it, and when you know it, that's the time to do something about it. So, yeah. So you and I can talk about that going forward. But I thank you for doing this today.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. I hope it was helpful.
Yes, I think it really opened up my eyes even wider on this situation. Yeah.
That's
definitely.
Great. And I whatever happens, hopefully we will catch up here and we will be hearing the good news, because if you set your mind on that and that you are going to change it, I know you absolutely have such a good shot at this, and you have the power to do it.
Thank you.
Now the work begins. Yes, it takes a lot of mindfulness weekly work to do the things and stay on track for what works with men in these types of situations. But I know that by stepping in faith, following the system, doing things the way that it takes to get back on track, on the road, and the relationship car running right, Lina's on her way to do it. If you need help in a situation like this, with any relationship that is off track, but especially when there's a third party, when there's been cheating or anything like we talked about today, it's going to take serious transformation in how you relate, how you feel about yourself. So many details that, of course, this is a podcast. We cannot go into all that work here. It's weekly work. And week by week, we set the task, the intention, what to do, how to do it, and that's where you get results. You may want to listen to Season 2, Episode 1 with Alejandra, whereby she was able to do that in a short time and got the engagement she desired and deserved. Now, mind you, this wasn't after 9 years, but it doesn't matter the amount of time. We, as women, put things in the realm of time, and time matters to us and is even in our realm of thinking in a way that it is not with men at all. That's another thing that we work on. So, if you are there, you need my help, reach out to Michelle at coachpaulagrooms.com. All you have to do is email her and say, Michelle, I heard this powerful episode. I want to do the work. I'm ready to do the work. How do I talk to Paula? We can be getting you on the right road and the right path with your Mr. Right. Because when someone puts in the work, it works. Just like we were talking about the mechanics of men and that car. When the man works on it, he gets it up and running. The right parts, the right amount of work, it works. It can with you. So I hope to be hearing from you, talking to you soon, and getting you on the right road. If you are ready, you're ready to step out of fear into faith and into transformational work behaviorally. And the beauty is that you transform inside yourself, and it is just an amazing feeling when you get the success you desire and deserve. In the meantime, don't forget, any man in your life, you have to be making him wonder.